Welcome to TMI with Teryl and Martha. And I just came off a shift of ringing the bell at Salvation Army. And so I'm all in the Christmas spirit, but maybe we've got a lot of stress out there around the holidays. So we wanted to talk about that today, but we also want you to like and subscribe on YouTube because we want you to be a part of this community.
Yes. And if you do that, they will tell you when we drop a new episode, which is every Tuesday.
Yes.
And so we're making it a priority for ourselves to be here to talk about all things wellness, health care strategies, stress strategies. We have Joy Kelleher here with us because she is a Reiki master, and she's also a professional therapist with a location here in Gainesville. So we thought she would be a great part of our conversation today, which Martha and I are just going to ad-lib along with you, Joy, just to talk about holiday happenings, setting boundaries, and surviving and enjoying the holidays without overindulging in all areas.
That's the important word, I think, that we all forget, to enjoy.
Right.
To have joy during the holidays and not be a chore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when Lynn and I got married, we're a blended family. And when we went through our premarital counseling, it was the best piece of advice I got, along with many others, but the best piece is to be flexible about the holidays. Because we had this situation where we had,
people coming and going, right?
People coming and going. Kids, some years would be with their mother, some years they'd be with us, and we had full custody of them, but to be flexible. And so I've always tried to do that with the holidays, and that's helped.
Right.
I think sometimes I'm so flexible that people take advantage of me, or I'm so easigoing.
Yeah, or they think
people
you
don't
care
believe that
enough,
about me.
Right. And then they're like, wait, but shouldn't you be angry right now?
I know.
What's going on?
That's right. That's right. So I think that, we just got through Thanksgiving and we went on a whole cruise with $23. Okay.
Yeah. How many?
It was $23. And it was great.
Sounds like a board game.
But it was challenging too. I mean, because there's a lot of feelings and things that happen and that sort of thing. But we had a wonderful time. And what I tried to always say to my husband and to anybody would be that, hey, we're all here together. Let's just enjoy it. It's, and that's what we did. And we had a great time. So we've kind of gotten in a cycle now that we have grandchildren and there's lots of other families involved because we've got in-laws. We got daughter-in-laws and a son-in-law. And I had to remind my father-in-law, he goes, oh, we ought to do this every year. I said, well, Pop, we have a lot of people in our family that have other families. We can't just plan something
going on.
Yeah, we just can't plan something. You have to be happy with what you get.
Right.
Even if it's a quiet Christmas or it ends up being a crazy Christmas. And what we do is that usually I do Thanksgiving. This is unusual. Because all my I have 3 daughter-in-laws and a daughter. All my girls work weekends. Okay. So I try to be the one that either because of their jobs, they have weekend work involved. I try to be the one that does Thanksgiving. Then they don't have to worry about that. They can just come, have Thanksgiving, and they have to go to work usually the next day. So it's because of the kind of work they're in. So I try to do that for Thanksgiving. And then it's hard, but we're real flexible for Christmas because I want my kids to have Christmas at home.
Their own.
I don't want to call
tradition.
It a command performance. You better be here. My dad was like that. But he had a lot of daughters, and daughters will come home more, than sons do. I think it's just one of those things. But what we have gotten into the cycle of is we do after Christmas.
That's nice.
So we'll get together after Christmas, and that works out really
for
nicely
everybody.
That we do that. It works out for everybody. And I'm reading this book by William Bridges right now called Transitions, and I would recommend it to everyone because it's not just change. Sometimes it's transitions. Your family is something when the children are small.
Right.
Then as the children are teenagers and go into college, that's a different kind of family.
Right.
Then you're adding in-laws and grandchildren.
When they get
married. That's a different kind of family. And there's more people that have to be considered in everything. So that's just kind of in a nutshell what we try to do. And I don't decorate as much as I used to. I've taken that stress off of myself, where I like lights. I put up lights and I sometimes put up a tree. Sometimes I don't. If I'm not going to have Christmas at my house, I
Right.
might just decorate the mantle or do whatever because I like the twinkling lights.
I do too. I love lights.
Makes me feel happy.
Mhm.
So I just try to be flexible with myself too.
I think that's so important. We forget that we need to resource ourselves
Mhm.
because the holidays do demand more of our time and energy. And energy in, you have to put energy in to get energy out.
Right.
So,
But not sugar. No, I'm just kidding.
Not sugar energy.
sort of debatable whether it's energy. So you really have to fuel yourself to be able to manage what's important to you, the demands that matter to you.
Yeah.
And you know what, I think too, the holidays are so different for everybody that it's a time that we have to be patient with each other and the different people who experience the holidays differently, right? So that you have, you get all excited and you want to talk about all oh, my daughter's coming this year with her fiance. We're going to have so many people and I've got this house full of people and it's just food. But this is also a time where those children or there's certain people who are super lonely, and the holidays exacerbate that feeling of loneliness and of solitude and of what they don't have, or maybe, you know what I mean? And then there's some that love that solitude, but there's such a variety and you never know who you're talking to if you're in just a larger group when you're talking about holidays and the different things we're doing. And so that's something, since we talked not too long ago about some of the children and what they face as they're getting older and kind of put out in their world,
In
on
the
their
real
own.
world.
Mhm. Like it's one of those things that's easy to get caught up in either the joy or the hubbub, the hustle, and you forget about the fact that there's a lot of people that don't feel the way you do or don't get to have the memories and all the things.
Sure.
So
What comes to my mind is the idea of being performative. Many times we have so many expectations that we're trying to meet that we wind up performing. We have to perform at the holidays. It has to be a certain way. We have to, decorate a certain way. We have to have a certain type of gift. We have to be perfect. So we wind up being performative instead of being authentic and doing what we really want to do. And that way, no becomes something we really can't say because we're performing. Whereas no should be sacred. No is a sacred contract with yourself.
It's that boundary we were talking
Right.
about.
What matters the most to you?
Yeah.
And sometimes that means saying no, lovingly, compassionately, but no.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I get that. I think that there's a lot of expectations and there probably shouldn't be. I mean, really, when you think about it, we're really blessed people. Lynn and I, though, have never been gift givers. I mean, it's, we travel, we do things for ourselves throughout the year. And so I usually just say, just write me a note. I'm a appreciation person. I like to have I like to be appreciated. And so write me a note, tell me you love me. And that's really, I mean it when I say it.
Right.
That's really, I don't really care about things. I did get a really lovely gift one year where they did when I'm 64, on my 64th birthday, they did a little video of it, but they said, don't post it on social media, which is fine. So I have it in my kitchen, and they did it. You've seen it. Yes, you have. It's like my favorite thing.
It's the
it is
sweetest
my
thing.
favorite thing. And I think that I am like starting that closet of gifts, that are in there that I'm going to give. But with our grandchildren, we try to give to their college fund as opposed to stuff because they have so much stuff.
Or experiences.
They have so much stuff. Yeah. Or experiences, that kind of thing.
Well, I've got 3 children and they're all girls. So that kind of is, I'm the mom of 3 girls, which means they land around me a lot more than they do around the boys' parents. But that's just the thing that is kind of, not always, but it's kind of where we are. But I have what I call joint custody of Maddie, my youngest. And because she goes to their house, his family's one Christmas. So last year they were with his family. This year she's with mine. So I feel like I'm almost like a a divorced parent again, having a child that goes back and forth between the parents. Is this my year or is this their year? And you think, But the wonderful news there is that I have become very close to my future son-in-law's mom. And we really hit it off, right? I love her. And when we saw each other recently, we both started trying to think of ways to be together as a bigger family every year for the
lovely.
holidays. Since the holidays matter to all of us, my other two were married to Latin American husbands, one son-in-law Colombian, the other Guatemalan, and they celebrate Noche Buena, which is the Christmas Eve, right? So I never really had a problem there because the kids that was my quiet time as they got older, was Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Boop, it's all crazy. And now my mom comes to my house. So I am the now new tradition for Christmas where everybody comes for Christmas is in my house. I went and bought a farm. So, I've got a big, decent sized property, a farm and
In a manger.
a manger. Why wouldn't I be? And I have a little pig now that lives in my house and I can go on. It's crazy. We'll talk boundaries in a minute. But no, so I have kind of put myself in a position where I have an inherited gift of being the person that is able to bring everybody together. And I think that's good for memories for the children, for the
Absolutely.
grandchildren, and for my children to create during the holidays. They tend to be, for me, not everyone, my biggest memories of my childhood, which I had to explain this to my husband because I'm married to someone who did not have any kind of real emotional or mental attachment to any holiday. He was just not raised that way, and so his idea of family is a little bit different. He loves our family, but Christmas is like, that's your gig, all this business, trees and lights but he respects that. And, but we have two very different views on the
But
holidays.
that's a huge thing in any marriage.
I guess it would
because
be. Yeah.
I think very few couples come together and they have the same kind of background as far as how they do holidays.
Right.
That's one of the biggest challenges, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Because everybody is so invested in that. This is the way we do it
Right.
kind of thing. I mentioned earlier that my dad was very demanding about his girls being home. It was 3 girls and a boy.
Right.
But we always did come. I mean, the girls always came. We always
home.
came home with our families, because my dad expected it. And then
Right.
after my dad died, we were kind of adrift for a number of years. I don't
Yeah,
know
he
that
was
we ever
kind of the anchor.
kind of came back together again. We did, but it was like now I sort of take on that role of keeping everybody together. I'm the one that at least stays in contact, but we are kind of scattered around the country. So it's more of making sure you communicate at some time during the holiday season and, be a part of the day that way because we've got, they're living in all over the place.
Yeah,
and they
that's
can't really
kind of the
all
world
get back.
now, wouldn't you say? Like you have people that may not be blood family, but that you love that are in Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where my husband's from. That's where I lived for almost a decade.
Right.
So, connection can happen across those wonderful cell phones that we use and we
Right,
lament
yeah.
sometimes. There's many different ways to connect. So just be creative with it.
Well, that's kind of the generation that we're in is like FaceTime Christmas in a lot of ways. But, like we were back to what you were saying about not being a gift giver. One year for Christmas, I had this really spiritual moment, right? Where I felt like we were putting way too much emphasis on the buying of things, the stuff.
Right.
And so I asked all my kids, they all know about this, and it's still in my iPhone because I have this written in my notes, and I'm going to do it again. But it was important to me that Christmas. I wanted everyone to write down. And I had this little tree thing, and I wanted everyone to write on several of the leaves. We were going to put the leaves in the tree Christmas Day. And each one of those leaves, we were going to write on it about one of the people that were there and who they were as a gift. What kind of gift have they been in your life? Right?
That's nice. That's a good idea.
How did they show me love? And what did I appreciate about that gift? And that was going to be the the noticing of another person's effort to care for you. And I feel like that gets overlooked on a day-to-day basis, that we're with people, we take them for granted, we see them all the time, or maybe we don't, but we forget and we stop. I heard my ex-brother-in-law say at my father-in-law's funeral, it dawned on me while I was standing next to him in that hospital bed that I don't think I ever told him that I loved him. And I thought, I'm so glad I did the tree, because I still have it. And everybody participated, my son-in-laws, my kids, and they took those leaves and they wrote a little something for everybody there. So there were a lot of leaves because we had a lot of people, but it was so much fun, Martha, because we sat around, and instead of just opening up a ton of presents and things that would be, thrown in the trash or maybe used, maybe not, we talked to each other and we looked at the other person in the eye and we told them, what they meant to us and what kind of gift that was. And can I tell you, the air in that room became thick and full. And it was like, there was ever a spirit of Christ and of Christmas, it was there that day. So, what a good idea. Anybody that's listening, any of us, I think maybe I'll implement, maybe not something as strategic as that, but maybe it's something we could all do, to honor each other at Christmas time.
Well, and the faith part of it is really, really important.
Yeah.
It's what makes the season what it is.
Mhm.
And it is hard sometimes in this. We've been talking about the commercialization of Christmas
Hallmark
for 50
holidays.
years, it's about faith. But one thing, people laugh about Hallmark movies.
I love them.
They are
I
good.
love them.
It's
I
guilty
love
pleasure,
them.
really.
But what I like
They're
about them, they
sweet.
still show people going to church.
They do.
They go to church.
Mhm.
I jokingly say they'll have a glass of wine, but they're not shacking up. And so you see a little bit of, do you know what I mean? And I know it's idealized,
Yes.
and it always ends with a happy ending and all that kind of stuff. And life
What's
is
wrong
not
with
that
that?
way.
There's
But
nothing wrong with that.
I love Hallmark
It's a feel-good
movies.
movie.
I do too.
Yeah.
My,
I can't wait for Countdown to Christmas. Okay.
I know, right? Which is so funny because I'm really not all that sappy, but there's something about it. Well, I'm a December baby, and
What day of December?
December 15th.
Oh, wow.
And
Coming up.
I grew up honestly thinking that Christmas was about me because all the lights. I was like, it's my birthday month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at
I
everything.
used to say it's my birthday month. All the lights are for me. And then I learned later it wasn't quite about me, but
Yeah.
But it was just lovely to have that idea as a child that all the lights were to celebrate me.
Yeah.
So I still my husband still wishes me a happy birthday month
Yes. Oh, yeah.
every year, December 1st.
I think we all do that as women in general. We just
Well,
have a month-long birthday.
My daughter was born on December 2nd. And so we started not putting any Christmas decorations up until after that, because I
Right.
didn't want her to think that it was just
Yeah.
blended in with Christmas, So we would do her birthday and then we would decorate. And we will probably do that this weekend and try to get some things up, some lights up and some things like that. But, we're probably going to have a very quiet Christmas.
Really? This year?
This year. We'll get together after Christmas.
Right.
But Christmas Day, we'll probably go to we have a son that lives in Watkinsville. He usually invites us over for dinner. And so we'll probably go there if we get invited. But otherwise, it'll be a quiet day.
Wow. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much same thing. Alan and I just spend Christmas with our lovely fur baby and just call family. And I really am not up to traveling at Christmas. It's just too hectic.
Yeah.
So we just have a quiet Christmas, the two of us.
Well, if you
We
guys
have
want
friends
some
come over.
chaos, you know where I live, because my house will not be a quiet Christmas day. My husband and I do enjoy the solitude of Christmas Eve typically.
Mhm.
My daughter and I think I might have more people in the house. I've got Madison and Grant coming in, so they'll be at the house Christmas Eve, and then maybe my daughter and her little girl will be there for a good portion of the evening. Or not, or maybe just Savannah. I don't know how that's going to work, because that's one of those life changes when things change. You just got to bend and flex with it, right? Like, be flexible in the holidays. I stopped trying to, and I am, and you can ask Tara, I am very much a control type A person. I'm sure we're both that way in certain
Really?
areas.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we might be alike in that. But, trying to control Christmas when you have multiple factors, multiple people, multiple things, like that is, you're just not going to survive that very well. It won't be pretty, And so any of you out there who are control oriented and performance oriented and want to have things look a certain way because that's the way it's always been, that is a very tricky thing, trying to keep things like it's always been. And so, this year's a little different. We put the tree back down because the grandchildren are 5 now, 4 soon to be 5 and well into 4. So the tree's back down from the high platform that it used to be on at my house. But I will have minimum, I invite one of my best girlfriends that I've grown up with and her husband. Her father passed away a year ago. So we're their family. She's my kid's godmother. And so she and her husband are coming. My mother and her caregiver are coming. And then my sister and her daughter and her new relationship
so
are
do you
coming.
cook or cater?
Oh, darn. You asked me that question. I can't believe she asked me that question. I do both, actually.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with that.
I do both. A lot of people laugh at me because I have the best macaroni and cheese in town. And Mike and Susan, who is my neighbors, do not watch this episode. But they laugh at me all the time because I do bring greens, baked mac and cheese. If you've not had it, it's some of the best mac and cheese out there, just right up the street. I'm going to ask you for a sponsorship, Greens. Anyway, it's the best mac and cheese ever. So I do get a few things that I know that are not my forte. And then I'm good at chicken, and I can get by the turkey. Actually, I get ham, even though I'm not a ham eater.
But you got to have.
But I have to get ham because my mother loves ham. My daughter loves ham. Other people love ham. So I don't force.
Well, it's some of that Christmas food.
It is, yeah.
So we get together and bake a Stollen. And my grandmother was German. Yeah, my grandmother was German. She baked it. We had to wrangle her to get the recipe before she died because she never used a recipe. And we get together, the girls in the family, try to do that every year. I think this year I may be cooking it on Christmas Day. Because my daughter works at a church, and so she's busy until Christmas. I think it's actually made her a humbug, if you want to know the truth. What time will it be
done?
Yeah. But we make it, and it's kind of an all-day thing. I love it when we do that. It's an all-day drink wine and bake Stollen, where it's a nice event. So we do that. That's kind of a tradition that we do. We did try the year after my mother died, all these variations to the recipe, like we filled one with chocolate. And that didn't work out very well. We did actually eat it warm. We'd never eaten it warm before because my mom would bake it and bring it, and so it would be cold when you ate it. But it all worked out really well, and I enjoyed those experiences. But again, you have to be flexible about it. All right, now, I'm hoping when the little grandchildren get a little bit older, then they'll come and we'll make a big deal about it. But right now, they're too young.
Kind of create that tradition.
Yeah, they're kind of too young to do that, or their mothers think that they're too young to do it. And so we'll see, where all that goes. But I want to talk a little bit about boundaries. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because I think women in general, I think, feel guilty about saying no about things related to any kind of entertaining or things like that.
Or
because
activities that you get invited to.
Even though men have come a long way as far as what they do, there's still this expectation when you walk into a home that it's the responsibility of the woman. I'm sorry, it just is.
True.
And so you've got to, you feel guilty about it. At least I feel guilty. I feel guilty all the time. But we have to
I know somebody you can talk to.
Get boundaries. You have to have boundaries about that kind of stuff. What's your suggestions about doing that?
Well, first, I'd be curious. I'd ask everybody who has a hard time saying no to be curious, go inside, and ask why.
Like an internal question.
Why? Why do I have a hard time saying no to something that...
And I feel guilty a lot. I mean, I have dealt with guilt a lot relative to how much I'm providing or doing, or should I be out there?
And then changing the language a little bit, looking at it as alignment. What is aligned with your values, with your energy, with your time? Because you can't do everything to the equal amount. What's aligned and what isn't? And instead of saying, I'm saying no, I am choosing what's most aligned with me at this time. So
people may not understand that, but that's the thing is like just kind of, I guess, releasing the concern about what somebody else thinks.
Yeah.
Is a big deal. And
we're somebody too. So yeah, we're concerned about what people think. I mean, I am, of course. However, I'm a person too. And being protective of my energy and my time and what's aligned with me makes me a better person. So when I am with somebody and I do say yes, that yes is very fruitful. It's resourced. It's vibrant. It's joyful.
And it's authentic.
It's very authentic.
Because you're not performing just because you need to be somewhere in front of so many people at some time. I think a lot of times, there's Christmas parties galore. There's gatherings. There's things where you have very limited time to really do these things, right? And so it gets harder on some people than others. Like, I think for me, I've been able to narrow down the happenings for myself during the holidays because I have kind of backed myself up a little bit, become not really reclusive, but I have kind of gone in a little bit to just kind of reestablish as I'm heading towards 60. What do I want the next decade of my life to look like? And, along with boundaries, the hardest thing for me, Martha, and Joy, was to actually say no to even my children. That I felt an absolute commitment to always be available to my grandchildren, to my children, to, the spa, to anything that needs me at any time, just like open doors. But to the point that I ran myself down over the last 20 years of my life. And so now I kind of have decided to put myself, after getting my health, under control, I've decided, okay, there's only so many slices to the pie. I've got to really determine how much of that slice is going to go to where, how big the pie piece is going to be. And,
it's hard.
And I also ask myself, before I have that glass of wine, do I need it or do I want it? Because that's another thing. A lot of people rely on alcohol to get them through a hectic holiday season. And I think we could talk a little bit more as we go along for strategies
I don't know if rely is
around
the
that.
right word. It's celebratory.
Yeah.
And you're doing more celebrating. It's kind of like a theory I have about dating, and that one of the problems are when you're dating, you are going out to places where you're more likely to drink.
Right.
You have a glass of wine with dinner.
It's
you
a
do
social
whatever.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then, that you get in a situation, my first husband was alcoholic, and that we got settled into a life, and I quit drinking and he didn't.
Right.
But I didn't see it while we were going along because it was just celebratory. You just
wouldn't think
figured
a thing of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a funny story because it's happened long enough ago that I can tell it. I was at a charity ball one year,
right,
and I had not eaten anything that day. And the week before, my husband and I had been at the big hospital party because all the parties used to be out there.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'd left a good tip or something. And the last thing I remember is this bartender going, "Oh, Miss Zoller, I'm going to take care of you." Okay, so I had this drink and I was feeling fine.
He probably double timed your drink,
my sweet husband saw that, there was something wrong, and he says, "Let's get out of here before, you do something."
Before you go into the fog.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so we got home early. He took me home early, and I've always remembered that because it was really such a kind thing for him to do, because it wasn't intentional on my part. It wasn't like I went there with the intention. It was just that.
Right.
And I remember him going, "Oh, I'm going to take care of you." And I just hadn't had anything to eat, and it was a double drink. And I was just like, and I was like, "Oh my goodness." So that was funny. So that year I was there a short time, not a long time. But I don't go to those things anymore. I very rarely go to events as much anymore. I want to do family events. I want to do what I want to do. And my husband and I are really enjoying our time together right now. And I'm a little selfish with that.
That's your boundary.
I don't mind that. I'm a little selfish with that because of course, I'm going to be there if my grandkids need me or my kids need me. Need me, though, is the word.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do lots of lovely things, but I enjoy my time with my husband, and I want to cherish that right now.
It's hard. I mean, I'm saying all this like what's aligned and saying no. But here I have a private practice. I'm on a nonprofit. I'm a swim coach. I have a blog. I have Sacred Woman Collective. I have a lot going on. But I have to decide what brings me joy.
Right.
And what takes away.
Yes.
Right. That's a good way to look at it.
Yep.
And, the holidays are a time where you can, when you talk about alcoholic, there are people who are alcoholics and they're dealing with it or not dealing with it. But, alcohol can be a crutch that can be used for stress. And that's the reason I was jokingly saying, do I want this or do I need this? Because that's one of the things that I would do in a stressful time, whether it's the holidays or, my child was sick or whatever. If I was going for a glass of wine, which is usually my MO, a glass of red wine or something, I would say to myself first, do I want this glass of wine or do I need this glass of wine? And if I said that I needed the glass of wine in my head, I wouldn't pour myself the glass of wine.
Have a glass of water first or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, I would hold off. But when I want a glass of wine and there's no really other reason, but we're being social and we're girlfriends and we're going to sit down and watch a whole lot of Robert Redford movies, because that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
And joy is a very important part of our holidays and our lives, not just this holiday, but any time we should be looking for opportunity to feel and express joy. I think that is a huge thing. And when people are under a lot of stress, which oftentimes the holidays does bring on, what are some good stress management techniques or tools that you could provide to our listeners so that, from a professional that we come to you and we go, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm stressed.
Well, I can show you one right now. You want to learn one?
Sure.
Okay. Put your hand on the crown of your head.
Okay. Right. Either hand?
Remember,
Right hand? Okay.
look back a little bit, right where the hair starts to grow.
Okay.
Other hand on top.
Okay.
Spread out your elbows. Breathe, first of all. Breathing is always good. And press down on the top of the spot on the top of your head, and just hold it for about a minute. And breathe.
Anybody who's listening, we're here with our chests out and
Not
our
a
hands
minute.
on our head. Yeah.
All right, we'll shorten it just because we're on a podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Left.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
I can sense a neurological response there.
Vagal brake exercise that activates your vagus nerve.
Oh.
So there's like thousands of them, but having just one or two that you learn that you can always go to. I do that in between seeing clients, and then having systems of stress management, like I do Reiki. That's
Right.
something that's important to me.
Mhm.
Yep.
Prayer, meditation, 5 minutes of silence,
Even gratitude journaling, I
Sure.
think, would be helpful, huh?
a minute of breathing.
Well, and I think to your point, 5 minutes of silence, I think especially for people like Teryl and I, that's really hard
Yeah.
because everything you've suggested is more stuff to do. Like
Right.
journaling
That's
is more,
true.
journaling is more.
That's true.
I think I remember Dr. Langston, who was a pediatrician here for years and years and years. He's still around. He's so great. He was my husband's and his brother's pediatrician, and then was our pediatrician until Suzanne was 9. And he talked about how important it was. This gets back to the conversation we had about young people, for your child to be able to sit with themselves
yeah.
and entertain themselves and be quiet. That it's really
Mhm.
important that they have that quiet time, that they are not stimulated every minute of the day, and that they learn how to be alone in their own thoughts, because being alone is not the same thing as being lonely. You know what I mean?
That is very true.
It's
Yeah.
There's something there. And I thought that was great advice too. And I'm trying to do, like I do all the things, like I journal, I'm writing, trying to remember all my stories, because I have this, I'm the glue that keeps the family together, which is
That's
like
the pressure,
a
yeah.
crown I have to wear, which I love wearing, but at the same time, there's a lot of pressure related to that. And I'm learning to go, I will get done what I can get done. It's okay if it's funny because my husband is the king procrastinator, and he says, "You've turned into me." And it's like, but we are kind of
That's
learning from each other. And procrastination isn't always it's got a bad connotation, but it's also learning what you can put off
Right.
and what has to be done. And what you learn as you get older and more mature and all that is there are things that can wait. Like, I haven't decorated my house yet or even started, but I've thought about it in my mind. We've got a plan. And at some point before Christmas, I'll put some stuff up. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It really
You're not
doesn't
making
matter.
it a thing
It doesn't
that's
matter.
going to cause you angst.
Not a chore.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Because
And
then you take the joy out of it.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I got several Christmas cards like Monday, and I'm thinking, wow, these are the people like I used to be, because I used to sit there on Thanksgiving weekend and do all my Christmas cards and get them out.
Yeah.
And now I probably get them around the 15th, and then I don't send as many as I used to, but I'll also return to the ones I get that maybe I didn't send out, that kind of thing. But it's so interesting. But I do love Christmas cards, and I do like reading them and looking at them and getting that kind of thing. I love them. A lot of people include pictures now, and
with
you catch
some
up
people sometimes.
with people, and it's a little more personal and that sort of thing. So I think that it's really just getting through every day with just a little bit of joy and gratitude, and just understand that everything's not the end of the world. And with grown children, what's so hard is that you want so much to insert yourself
Oh my goodness.
in, not in their business, but give them this advice, because you see them not doing anything wrong, but not doing it the way you would do it. And what Lynn and I have learned, we call this coping mechanism. You remember Get Smart, the cone of silence? Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we have this thing called the cone of silence, where we can say anything to each other,
Right.
but we don't. Our rule with our adult children is they're doing fine. You know what I mean? They're not going to do everything that we do. They're doing fine. And that if they ask us,
Give them the advice.
we will tell them one time.
Right.
I'm not going to harp on it. I'm not whatever. And if we really think it's important, like we think it's really important, we will say it one time.
Right.
But if they don't respond to it, we don't bring it up again.
I think that's
Good rule.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
I think that's a great rule. And I had just had a conversation with my husband in the house the other day, because I recognized that when I'm home alone, which I've been home alone several days over the past little while, especially recovering from procedures and just, when I was sick, and just in general, I've got a baby pig I'm watching after.
We've heard a lot
That's
about this
very
pig.
Very
He's
cute.
really cute.
Very cute. But anyway, I have found that I have a real uncomfortable space in quiet. Like, if my house is quiet, I usually want to turn on music or turn on because my husband asked me just last night, the news is playing in the other room, but you're here. Is there, are you listening to the news? Or
No, I like the noise too. I'm with you.
I said, well, honey, no, but it's background for me. When I'm in this house alone, I like to have either music or voices speaking. And maybe it's because I came up in a bigger family. I've always had my kids around, activity. It's just a comfort zone for me.
Yeah.
Whereas he is way more comfortable in the quiet. But it's not to say that I'll drive sometimes and have nothing on in the car. No music, no Martha. I always listen to Martha Zoller show. That's a common. If I'm in the car and you're on, I'm listening to you. But otherwise, I turn everything off. And that would be the time that I just kind of go in. I'm driving.
Don't close your eyes.
Try to pay.
I just saw you do that.
I did. I just did that. I'm not driving like this. I promise.
This is what I say on the show all the time. Don't take your hands off the wheel when you're going to throw something at me.
But being at home, I'm glad to hear you say that you like to have a little bit of background going on. And that's like the same with even my girlfriend. My husband and my girlfriend can sit in a dark house and not even have any ambiance, no light on. It's fine for them to be in a dark house. Me, no. I love the lights. Christmas is fun for me because of the lights. It makes me smile, brings up memories from my childhood. Some people may not have those memories to fish from, right? So I'm sure that's different for everybody, but it's kind of a stress thing. It helps me to find a cadence and kind of manage my activities when I have.
Sounds like an anchor. Something that helps you orient.
So Joy, thank you so much for joining us for this discussion. It
Thank
was
you for
great.
having me.
Thank you. And it's so great to be here with TMI with Teryl and Martha. Please be sure to like and subscribe. We want you to be a part of this discussion. We want you to have a lovely, wonderful holiday season, whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate or not celebrate at all. We hope you have a wonderful one and you find the boundaries and the joy that you need to have that.
Yes, and Martha and I will continue to do our show and have wonderful support people on board like Joy come in and help guide us and give us an understanding of how our worlds work. Please comment in our YouTube section, comment below. And if you're listening on any podcast channel, please tell your friends, share this with your family, especially if you guys happen to have somewhat of a hectic Christmas or you know someone who's lonely. Let them know that it's okay and there's things we can do to help people who are lonely during the holidays. Martha and I, we care so much for you all, and we do truly understand that your wellness deserves a little oversharing.